What is up, you guys? And first episode of the In Your House podcast, the premier wrestling podcast on the Young Speak Sports website. Premier meaning that is the only one. But anyway, today we are going to be covering Money in the Bank, the Raw after it, and then we're going to have a segment called We Chose Low Blows. I also have with us, speaking of We Cho, my friend Ulysses, who also goes by We Cho.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I forgot to introduce you. This is rough. Then Wrestling Restart to round it out, where we just go and restart a particular area of the WWE that is doing poorly currently. Yeah, as I was saying, with us we have Ulysses Oyarzabal.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate your how you pronounce my last name. You actually got it dead on.
I'm good with names. Speaking of dead, Money in the Bank happened last Sunday. The high points for me were the obviously Kevin Owens and John Cena match, Primetime versus New Day. Primetime actually won the retire retire chance for Big Show, and then Dean and Seth that match. But back to the Owens and Cena match. What were the best parts of that match for you, or what did you think of that match?
I thought that match was fantastic. This is another. This is now two matches where Owens and Cena went at it, and much like the last one, they completely stole the show. There's no doubt in my mind that this was match of the night. It was good, nice, hard back and forth. I love seeing Owens kick out of two AAs. It really shows how hard they're pushing him. Um, there was a crazy little spot where they do like a flip powerbomb thing
Oh
that
yeah,
Cena does, which I'll give props to both of them because it looked like that would have been botch city, but they found a way to balance themselves out to finish it. Props on you guys. I thought the ending was perfect. Like I didn't actually want Owens to win two straight because I kind of want to see this go another month. And if Owens were to win another one, I don't think it would have been another match. So, and even with them losing, Owens came out looking 100 times stronger than he did coming in there just because how it ended.
yeah. That match was. It seemed like they saved everything they had that they didn't use in the first match for this match, and they had a ton of amazing spots. It was one of the better matches of the year, I'd say, up there with their match at the previous pay-per-view. But yeah, that flip power bomb. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that could have been cool. But oh wow, how did they? That was my exact reaction. Like they somehow reversed it into what they were actually supposed to be doing. And Kevin Owens tried his swanton again, missed again. It seems like every time Kevin Owens goes off the top rope, he misses.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be his gimmick now, just like how I think it's like Swagger. He never hits a Swagger bomb and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh wow, Swagger. I forgot about him.
I know, right?
Oof. But yeah, going into that, I knew Cena was going to win. I mean, it made no sense for Owens unless they really just wanted to push Owens. It made no sense for them to win. But the he came out later on the next episode of Raw and said that he wants to challenge for the U.S. belt, or was that after the actual match? Anyway,
Uh, yeah, I
regardless,
think it was after the match.
yeah, that's what it was. I had something confused, but anyway, he challenged for the U.S. belt. So I I, I don't see Owens winning just because that belt. He already has the NXT. I just don't see him winning if he has both. Now maybe if he drops it somewhere along the way, but they don't have another takeover coming up, so I don't see that happening. What do you think?
The way I see it going down is um, he doesn't win in Battleground because I believe you're wrong. I believe they have a takeover in Japan, I believe on the 7th.
Really?
Yeah, and he's gonna face Finn Balor for the title, and I believe Balor takes it off of him.
When was the last one? It was in May, was it not?
Yeah, was the Unstoppable or whatever it was.
I thought Thought there was like 3 months in between them or 2 months in between them. Guess I'm wrong. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
no way he takes it off of him in Battleground, but there is a high possibility he takes it off in SummerSlam.
that is that's what the WWE needs to do. If they need to, well, no, they need to keep riding this rivalry till it gets old because it is these matches are great.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
But another high point of Money in the Bank was Primetime Players finally won their first tag team belts, which a long time coming. I mean, I thought they already had won one, but anyway, that match was it was a New Day match, so you knew almost what was going to happen. You knew at the end you'd see Big E diving through the ropes, taking somebody out, but I was just glad to see that Primetime won. What did you think of that?
The match was good. Too bad, apparently the crowd didn't think so. The crowd was very, very dead on this one, and I understand why because I believe the match before that one was the Owens match. So I guess I understand why the crowd was like deflated,
Hmm.
but the ending just kind of happened. Like it wasn't a really big cathartic moment. It just like Titus O'Neil just pinned Xavier Woods, and that was pretty much how it ended. But
Yeah, but
I'm a fan of the players. I'm a fan of New Day. If this means that they go on a 2 month feud, I got no problem with that.
yeah, but that's Titus O'Neil's finisher for you. You don't really recognize that it's an actual finisher.
Yeah.
A quick little highlight here was I love like I skipped through most of the Big Show Ryback match as everyone should have because it's a Big Show match. You know what to expect. Every Big Show match is the same, just with a different person in it. And I love his little interaction with the crowd when they chanted to like please retire, something along those lines. And then Show's like, I'm not retiring anytime soon. Then you just hear the crowd boo.
Big Show's the biggest heel in the company just by saying
Yeah, he'll be face come tomorrow.
that.
But last but not least for the high points was Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, though kind of everybody expected this to be a good match. There were many points in the match where I thought, yeah, this could have ended perfectly and I would have been fine with it. But it just just Seth Rollins going through the effort, like having to keep putting Dean down, but keep getting back up. It's like a Chumbawamba song. But
That was beautiful. That
yeah.
was beautiful.
But the ending was I was okay with it. I wasn't it could have ended better, but it looked like they just kind of botched the end of it, but it worked out either way. Like they were going to give it to Seth anyway. What do you think?
Um, the match was it was a high paced match. I don't have a lot of negatives to say, uh, other than like my constant complaining of the dirty deeds change.
Hmm.
But uh,
Explain that because there's a new podcast.
okay, so for you new listeners, my biggest complaint with Dean Ambrose so far is the change of his finisher. He used to have a finisher called Dirty Deeds, which is essentially just a headlock driver. He gets you in a simple headlock and he drives your head straight down. Look up a match between him and Kofi Kingston, and it's the greatest sell of that driver of all time.
Or just play or just play with him in WWE 2K15 because that's what they still have it as.
Yes. But now they switched it to a double arm underhook DDT, and they keep referring to that as Dirty Deeds, and it's not. Like it looks ugly, it doesn't look pretty, and just please bring back the headlock driver. It looks way better. But
Uh yeah,
back to the match.
back to Money in the Bank. Any more things about
Apparently,
Dean and Seth?
yes, apparently Dean Ambrose was part of the Weapon X program because the man has a Wolverine like healing factor.
Yeah.
It's there was so many times where Seth like hit the nail like on the final nail in his coffin, and then he just wakes up and goes like, "Oh yeah, I'm in a match," and it's just funny. It's funny to watch, but like for me, I'd prefer if he just looked a lot more damaged and hurt. But if that's his character, that's his character. I understand that he's crazy, but I don't know if
Dean
crazy.
is Dean is a zombie. You gotta
Yes,
aim for the head.
Essentially,
But onto the low points of Money in the Bank. Pretty much everything else.
yes.
Every other match, you can just chalk that up to a low point. I mean, our truth was there.
No
The
gas,
Nikki Bella won. What
which
else was
nobody wants.
there? Uh,
Michael
the
Cole was there.
Yeah, Michael Cole was there. There was a Big Show match. Oh, and the actual Money in the Bank match, which I mean, come on, really? Sheamus won? Literally, he was the last guy I expected to win. Like, I expected Kofi to win more just because I was like, okay, I could see Kofi cashing in and then just losing. But with Sheamus, I see it as Vince wants Sheamus to win so he can cash in and win like 8 months down the road. But this is just going to be boring. Maybe they do a thing where Orton wins it off him because if I'm not wrong, they are feuding right now, him and Orton. But
Yeah, they are.
just that whole match, and then I know you have something against the Bray Wyatt bit, but
Yes,
that's for a,
I'll say that for.
that, that's for a little bit later. But yeah, overall, Money in the Bank was not good. I mean, it had a handful of good matches, and the rest were just bleh.
Yeah, they the Money in the Bank match was such a disappointment considering that last year's was actually very, very, very entertaining. Because they had a better storyline going into it with again Dean Ambrose and Rollins fighting for the briefcase. And in this match, I wanted this Money in the Bank to be kind of like last year's, where everyone in the Money in the Bank ladder match never won the title before. So it's like at least we could crown it. We have a possibility of crowning a new champion. But when you add Kane, especially Kane,
Yeah.
and Sheamus and Orton and like that kind of makes it a snooze fest. It's like we don't want to see these guys as champion again. I would much rather see Roman win this than Sheamus or Kane or Randy.
Yeah,
Or just like how you said, I would have rather seen Kofi.
yeah, they're turning Roman around on me. I'm starting to like him a little bit more just because it seems like he's not being pushed as much, like not as much as he was earlier in the year, but he's kind of turning it around. I mean, his mic skills are still not that great, but and his in-ring is limited, but he's coming around.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
uh one little thing in that Money in the Bank match that kind of got me irritated was, oh, surprising, came from Michael Cole, where there was an obvious setup for an RKO and Randy delivered, and then Cole goes RKO out of nowhere. I'm like, no, 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 no. The one at WrestleMania was out of nowhere. This one was just your regular okey doke RKO.
Yeah, when he's like looking at him, like sizing him up, that is not out of nowhere. That is literally the definition of somewhere.
Oh man. Uh, onto the Raw that came the day after. The first high point that I want to point out is the tributes for Dusty. I mean, all of those were great and spot on. If you didn't know, Dusty Rhodes, famous wrestler from many years ago, passed away last Thursday, if I'm not wrong. Is that right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, Thursday. And he was a beloved member of the whole wrestling community, and they just kept putting out these little promos and videos of his tributes, which were fantastic. All of them were great, just highlighting his career.
Yeah, my favorite moment of the whole memory of Dusty was actually in the Money in the Bank pre-show when Renee Young continued to talk, even though you could hear her like cry her little heart out, which kind of made me feel bad. But she was such a pro that she still talked. I'm like, that was probably my favorite thing. Like that just shows you how much everyone loved Dusty.
The actual Raw started out with a, altercation between Dean Ambrose and Seth, and like you're saying, Dean Ambrose seemed to have this inane healing ability where he just walked out, no limp whatsoever, and walked to the ring, sat down, gave his promo after he had already gotten rid of Seth, who was saying how he could do it all by himself, which is only it's interesting, but I mean, like we all see it. He's going to be splitting up with uh the authorities sometime soon. But yeah, what'd you
Yeah,
think?
hopefully so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
getting
like it's starting to be more of a nuisance than entertaining at this point.
mhm. Every week. J&J comes out, interferes with the match. Oh, Seth wins because he blindsided him. That's getting old.
Yeah,
But
they're weakening him as
mhm.
champion.
the then after that, a little later, Kevin Owens came out, cut a promo, and then Ziggler came out to challenge him for the NXT belt, but Kevin Owens made it quickly known to everybody that no, the NXT belt was not on the line. But that was actually a really good match. Uh,
Yeah, it was
what you
fantastic.
I mean, it's Ziggler and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has a great in-ring ability. Ziggler has a good in-ring ability, and Ziggler can sell anything. I mean, that he looked like he was dead after that pop-up power bomb.
Yeah, he really did.
Oh, another pop-up power bomb that everybody loved was the one on Machine Gun Kelly.
Which solidified Kevin Owens' face turn. I
Yeah,
don't care what anybody
he's
tells me.
he's solid face. And then
The funniest thing was seeing like right after they powerbomb him, like the rest of the band come picks him up and they think they're selling it, but they're like, we're taking him to the hospital. That was the funniest thing. Because he's like walking, he doesn't really look hurt, and he's like, we're gonna take him to the hospital. Don't worry, don't worry. And the reps are like, relax, we're gonna get the stretcher out. Oh, that was great.
walks over to the stretcher, sits down on it. Take me out. Then, last but not least for Raw, the closing segment where we saw the return of the former reigning, defending, rest of the line champion of the world, Brock Lesnar. I mean, I I freaked out when Lesnar came out. I mean, like I knew he was coming out, but that got me hyped.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing to watch those two go at it again.
What do you think the end game is at for that? Do you think Brock sells for Seth, makes him puts him over. That's what I was looking for. Or do you think they give it to Brock and then later on they have Roman ultimately defeat him, defeating this ultimate power or whatnot?
You see, the way I saw it is like the way they managed to take the belt off of Brock was the most perfect way.
Hmm.
But the next question was, how are you going to take the belt off of Seth? And I really couldn't think of a good way. This would probably be the best chance for them to like. 'Cause I don't want them. Like my initial thought was that maybe this could help like move towards like the Seth Rollins face turn. But I don't really want to see him as a face. He's doing great
Hmm.
as a heel. He's funny as a heel.
He
So
reminds me a lot like his facial expressions and the way he talks. He reminds me a lot of CM Punk. And if that's your comparison, that's high praise from Caesar right there.
yes, it is. And yeah, the way I see it is that I would like to see as like Brock Lesnar wins the belt back and maybe he drops it to Roman in SummerSlam or something. That would be entertaining. That's like the only way I could see it happening.
Perfect scenario in my eyes. Um, Brock wins it at Battleground. Roman challenges him for a SummerSlam. The two are fighting, and then the same situation happened like it did at WrestleMania, where Sheamus comes in, cashes in, but the other two aren't even that hurt. So they just start beating up on Sheamus, and then and like at the end of the match, Sheamus isn't even a part of the equation anymore. He had to be like stretchered out or something because nobody wants Sheamus as champion. Nobody. And then I guess Roman wins just to finally put him over, solidifying his superstar of the year status because everybody knows the Slammies mean something.
Clearly, I like that angle because that would essentially mean that Sheamus would be buried deeper than our ancestors, and I like that.
Speaking of Sheamus, onto the low points. Yeah, my two low points are more so facts than actual matches or anything. But the low points were Sheamus. Sheamus was on the screen, and also our truth exists. Those are my two low points.
I can't stand R-Truth anymore.
No, he's he's just become a walking laughing stock pretty much, and he's not even funny.
Not even in the slightest.
Anything you can think to add to Raw or Money in the Bank?
The three-man tag team match was okay.
That was good.
The New Day versus Primetime Players and Neville. Like I like all six men involved, so like give me maybe one more match like that and I'll be happy.
hmm Uh, On to the next segment. We chose low blows. Here with us we have Ulysses, as stated before, but he also goes by the name of We Cho. Nickname too long to get into, reasoning too long to get into, but this segment is all about Ulysses ranting about everything wrong with the WWE, more specifically one subject at a time. And today, what do you have for us?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a particular topic near and dear to my heart, and that is of the man known as Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is if you guys are listening, that means you guys are hopefully wrestling fans. Bray Wyatt came out as like a very creepy, very scary cult leader esque superstar, and that was interesting. Like I don't really recall a superstar coming that way, and like when he came out with his Wyatt family and everything, man, he did a great job of just getting under your skin and making you feel uncomfortable. And then I know last year when he had the rivalry with Daniel Bryan, oh man, that was great. Like that was the one time you could tell just how scary he was because he literally converted one of the greatest faces we've had in like the last 5 years in Daniel Bryan, and he converted him to a family member. And then Daniel Bryan leaves and is like, okay, so you're not that good of a cult leader, but whatever. And then he fights with Cena, and then he does a great job of scaring people into thinking like, man, he could possibly beat Cena, and then he doesn't. So it's like, okay, like way to take the air out of the balloon on that one. And then and then he just doesn't wrestle for much. Like I don't really recall him wrestling a lot, and that's one of my biggest problem. But my biggest problem now is he doesn't get into meaningful rivalries anymore. Like his last rivalry was with Ryback for no reason at all. Like I can't think of any justifiable reason.
I think it was the same reason that Big Show is fighting him is you say you're a big guy. I don't think you're a big guy. Let's fight. That's you can pretty much sum up all of Ryback's feuds as that.
Yeah,
But anyway, back to Bray.
yeah. Back to Bray, like, and then not so long ago, the Wyatt family like left his side, so now he doesn't even have a cult anymore, and they don't really mention the fact that he has a cult anymore. And I know they keep filming these promos of him in a dark room with fog. That's not scary anymore. Like that doesn't scare me. And you could go on these long riddle like hyperboles and end with run. That's not scary. That's just you're wasting time here. Like I know WWE probably loves you because you're padding out 3 hours, but stop that. That's not scary anymore. Like you as your character, you're done. And then all of a sudden you decide to fight Roman Reigns for no reason other than I want to fight Roman Reigns. And I guess this previous Raw they gave him his creepy back because he had a picture of him and his kid. Like that's really creepy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But yeah, but I don't know. Like WWE, like you dropped the ball huge on Bray Wyatt. He's no longer scary, and Bray Wyatt is essentially exactly like his finisher, a downward spiral.
Oh, but but how could you see WWE actually fixing Bray Wyatt?
Just I don't know. Like I thought
Or
he should
excuse,
have
let me
beaten.
rephrase my question. How could you see them making him scary again?
The best way possible was for him to beat the Undertaker. Like I thought when he didn't beat the Undertaker, like there was no hope for his scary gimmick anymore. Like the only ways I could see him becoming scary again is if he is the one who makes Kane go back to the demon, where he convinces him to go back to the demon. If I believe I'm stealing this from you.
Hmm.
If he finds a way to make Roman Reigns a family member, like that could be scary. Uh, if I don't want him to get another rivalry with Cena because I'm kind of enjoying Cena versus Kevin Owens at the moment. But just give him back his family, have him like do just some vicious things. Like he's not scary anymore. Like I know I'm kind of like talking in circles here, but I don't know. The scariest thing at this moment that he could do is probably make Kane go back to wearing a mask.
Or murder somebody on film. He just starts his own line of snuff films.
He already has the butcher outfit with him.
That is true. Um, oh, I had a point but forgot it because I was just imagining Bray Wyatt murdering somebody on stage. Oh, okay, I remember. Yeah, I had a beef with his feud with the Undertaker because it was essentially the when the first time Taker came back as non-American motorcycle gang dude, whatever. His first rivalry back or first match at WrestleMania back was with Kane, and the entire time it was just Undertaker leaving cryptic hints about to Kane like, "Oh, I'm gonna be back. There's no way." And Kane's like, "There's no way he's gonna be back," but every week he's gonna be back until finally at WrestleMania you see him for the first time in X amount of months, and it was actually a legitimately cool moment. But with Bray, they kind of did the opposite with Bray leaving cryptic hints towards the Undertaker, like, "I'm gonna fight you. You're gonna be there," and with no control over the Undertaker whatsoever. But then he ended up showing up anyway, despite he didn't even have to, and there was no stakes involved, and it was just dumb altogether. The match wasn't that bad, but dumb. Bray
It was
Wyatt
awesome.
equals dumb.
Exactly. WWE fix him. Fix him now or future endeavor him.
Speaking of fixing, the last segment on this glorious episode of In Your House is Wrestling Restart, where we take a subject in the WWE that we think is going down the drain. They're not booking it correctly, and then we give our own perfect versions of how they could fix it, they could restart whatever they are trying to do. And for the first Wrestling Restart, we are going to be discussing the Divas division. I know, not exciting. It's the Divas, but they could potentially watching what happens in NXT. They could make it interesting. What do you? How's your way of fixing it?
My way of fixing it is easy. It's gonna take some time, but it's easy. They're already kind of setting it up right now, and I'm almost certain this is their plan. And if there is, WWE, you're welcome, even though you thought of it first, but you're welcome. Um, Survivor Series is the pay per view that comes out in November,
Yes,
and right now they have a thing with like particularly Paige versus the Bellas, and right now like they Paige is doing a thing where it's like, oh, the Bellas have a stranglehold on the division, and this is the Bella Empire, and all kinds of hyperbole that they're trying to make us believe and whatnot. And like the Paige is trying to get the other divas in the division to like stand beside me and fight, and we could take over. And all the divas are like, we don't like you, so stop talking to us, kind of a thing.
hmm
So the best way I could see it is in Survivor Series. We have a traditional 7-man tag team match or a 5-man, whatever it usually is, where it's Team Bella, and you could have like the Bellas plus like 5 other divas that nobody really cares about, versus hopefully, um, it'll hopefully be like Team Paige, led by Paige, obviously, with the NXT women wrestlers. So she'll have like Charlotte, Bailey, Becky
Sasha
Lynch,
Banks or
and
not Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. My bad.
yeah, and then my particular favorite
Don't you say
is
it?
actually Bailey, but hopefully Sasha Banks will be there as well. and it'll be them versus these horrible, horrible, horrible divas led by the worst of them all, Nikki. And then Team Paige wins, and then hopefully like they future endeavor everybody and Team Bella and keep the NXT champs.
Your perfect version of the Divas division is actually not far off from what I was going to do. First off, have Nikki drop the belt to Paige because
Uh-huh.
that's what's holding them back mainly. Paige gets the belt. She kind of looks as this. She kind of thinks she's this leader of the Divas division now, but still, no one buys her because she's turned her back on everybody or whatnot or whatever they're saying. So then Paige basically has all of the other divas fired just because they are talentless wrecks. And except for Emma, she's good and apparently on the main roster still. But then she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Triple H, say, hey, bring up all your divas to the main roster, and then boom, we just basically have NXT on the main roster. Because right now they're teasing at Charlotte going up. They're teasing at oh, who's the other one on my mind? Not so much, but Bailey. They're kind of teasing her going up, but just as long as the other divas, especially the Bellas, are gone, and Dana Brooke stays in NXT or just off on her own future endeavored, just
Preferably.
yeah, as long as just as long as the Bellas are no more, because sure they've gotten better, but they are still terrible. You can polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Yeah.
But
And then cancel Total Divas.
then, oh yeah, cancel Total Divas. Oh, keep Natalia too, because she's actually good.
Yeah.
And then that that was a your answer was obviously more thought out than mine, more of what the WWE could do. But hey, either way will work.
Yeah, it's just as long as we both agree that the Bellas are awful.
They are. They're terrible. They're trying to do the whole, oh, we're twins, let's switch out during matches thing again, even though they don't look like each other anymore.
They clearly do not look even remotely like.
And with that last point, we are putting this train wreck to an end. We had today. I had with us Ulysses Oyorzabal. You can find him on Twitter at WeCho. And if you want more of us talking about wrestling, maybe even film, go check out Stephen Wilds' Twitter. We actually are on a podcast with him. Wilds War Crime, Wilds on Film. Check us out there. And then finally, last but not least, check me out and the rest of the Young Speak crew. We have our staff bios on here. You can find us on Twitter. And in the wise words of Gary Oak, smell you later.